Let's talk about AI. It's not some far-off sci-fi idea anymore, is it? It's here, and it is changing everything, especially our jobs. A really eye-opening study from Elevate just dropped, and it paints a pretty wild picture of what's coming. So today, we're going to break down what it all means, and more importantly, what it means for you. So let's just start with the big number, the one that got everyone talking, 30%. Yeah, by 2030, and that's right around the corner, nearly a third of all jobs on the entire planet are at a pretty high risk of being automated by AI. We are talking about one of the biggest workforce shifts in history.
And that, of course, brings up the million-dollar question. And it's probably why you're here. Is my job on that list? Well, we're about to count down the 10 jobs that are most in the crosshairs. And I have a feeling a few of these are going to surprise you.
But hang on, before we just dive into the list, it's really important to get why some jobs are more vulnerable than others. It's not just random. The Elevate study found a very clear pattern, a kind of, an anatomy of risk that AI seems to target.
Okay, so it pretty much boils down to these three things. First up, repetition. If your job is doing the same thing over and over based on a clear set of rules, AI can just do it faster and, frankly, with fewer mistakes. Second is market demand. If a job is already kind of shrinking because of other trends like online shopping, AI is basically just going to pour gasoline on that fire. And third, what we call human-centric skills. Jobs that need real empathy, complex creative thinking, or tricky judgment calls, those are, at least for now, much, much harder for a machine to copy.
All right, you ready? With that in mind, let's get into the countdown. We're going to start with numbers 10 through 6 on the list of jobs most likely to be handed over to AI by 2030.
Kicking us off at number 10, we have customer service representatives. And this makes sense, right? Think about it. The last time you reached out to a company for help, you probably talked to a chatbot first. Now, for the really tough problems, you still need a human, but for all the basic, everyday questions, AI's got it covered. That's why we're looking at about a 5% job decline here.
Coming in at number 9 are production workers. Now, robots in factories are nothing new, but AI is taking it to a whole other level. But here's the interesting twist. The study actually sees a tiny bit of job growth here, about 0.6%. So what does that mean? It suggests that as AI handles the grunt work, new jobs will pop up for humans to manage and maintain these super smart systems.
At number 8, proofreaders. And if you've ever used a tool like Grammarly, you've seen this firsthand. These AI writing assistants are getting scary good at catching typos, fixing grammar, and even making your sentences clearer. The industry's already shrinking, with jobs expected to drop by about 3.4%.
Number 7 is the administrative assistant. All those core tasks, scheduling meetings, sorting emails, organizing files, are now being automated by the smart tools we all have on our phones. Yep, that simple little scheduling app is a perfect example of why this once essential office role is under some serious pressure.
Now this one at number 6 might surprise you. Legal assistants. Turns out, AI is now incredibly good at sifting through mountains of legal documents and reviewing contracts. You're still going to need a human lawyer to make the final call, but a lot of the heavy lifting can be automated. This gives the profession a staggering 88% automation risk.
Okay, let's move into the top 5. This is where things get really intense. We're now entering the zone where the disruption is going to be fast and deep. The risk percentages from here on out, they get incredibly high.
Kicking off the top 5, we have billing clerks. With all the advanced accounting software out there now, the manual work of creating and tracking invoices is a prime target for automation. The risk factor is a huge 89%. But just like with the production workers, there's a tiny hint of job growth, which suggests we'll still need humans to handle the exceptions and oversee the system.
In the number 4 spot, receptionists. You see it everywhere already, right? AI booking platforms, virtual assistants, those little chatbots that pop up on websites, they're all automating the front desk. This role now has a 91% automation risk, because for many companies, an AI is already their new front door.
And just take a look at this. It really shows you how tight the race is at the top. Receptionists are at 91%, but our next 2 jobs jump up to 93 and 94%. We're talking about razor-thin margins for these final few roles. So, coming in at number 3 are cashiers. And this one probably doesn't shock anyone. The reason is simple: self-service. Between self-checkouts at the grocery store, tap-to-pay everywhere, and of course the explosion of online shopping, the traditional cashier is disappearing fast. The automation risk here is a massive 93%.
Our runner-up, the second most at-risk job, is the telemarketer. Honestly, this one is on the verge of total automation. AI chatbots can now make the calls,
personalize the pitch, and even respond to your objections in real time. The automation risk? A jaw-dropping 94%.
And that brings us to number 1. With a near certain automation risk of 95%, the job most likely to be replaced by AI by 2030 is the data entry clerk. Think about it. The job is almost purely repetitive, typing, verifying, organizing data. It is a task that is just tailor-made for an AI. With jobs projected to decline by a full 25%, this role is facing the fastest and sharpest replacement of all.
Okay, that was an intense list, but listen, the point of this isn't to spread doom and gloom. It's about getting ready. Knowing what's coming is half the battle. So now let's shift gears. Let's talk about the solution. How do we actually prepare for this new world?
This quote here from Elliot Mueller, the CEO of Elevate, he really hits the nail on the head. The answer isn't to stop technology. It's about adapting and reskilling. And this is a responsibility we all share, as individuals, as companies, and as governments.
So what can you do personally? The study points to 3 big things. First, invest in reskilling. Learn about digital tools. Get comfortable with data. Second, double down on the skills that make you human, your creativity, your empathy, your critical thinking. And third, you've got to stay flexible. Be ready to embrace new roles where you work with AI, not against.
Of course, businesses have a massive role to play here. They need to use AI responsibly to make their employees better, not just to cut corners. That means offering training programs, supporting people through these transitions, and never forgetting that sometimes there is just no substitute for a real human connection.
And finally, policymakers have to step up too. This means creating stronger safety nets for workers who are displaced, completely rethinking our education system for an AI-driven world, and pouring resources into industries where human creativity is still the most important thing.
When you boil it all down, what this study really shows us is that the future isn't some epic battle of AI versus humans. It's about collaboration. It's AI plus humans. Technology is just a tool, and how it shapes our world is up to us. So the question isn't if things are going to change anymore. The real question is, how will you choose to adapt?